What is going on, guys, and welcome to HTML tutorial. In this video, we're going to talk about a very interesting element in HTML, and it is called iframe element. And what iframe element is that it's basically like a little frame that actually links your website to, let's say, a different website or the different page in your own website or image, or most popular, it's actually used to display a Google Maps on your website. So let's go ahead and let's create a iframe element. And the way we would do that, we would have to create a iframe element over here, and the name and self-explanatory would be iframe over here. So I just click over here, and we would have to use a source attribute, and the source attribute would basically tell the browser where to look for our iframe element. And in this case, I'm going to create an external source, and it's going to be ESPN. So I would have to type over here the HTTP, and over here I would create ESPN.com, and I'm going to close it over here, the iframe. And you can see that I have ESPN over here. Now the thing is, my iframe is pretty much automatically set by default, but I can use two more attributes to control the width and the height, the same as with the image. So here I would say width, let's say, and I would say that I would want width to be 300 pixels, and I would want my height to be, let's say, 300 pixels, right? So you can see all of a sudden how it's changing. And if I just make this website a little bit bigger that I'm working with in index over here, you can see that my iframe is getting bigger or smaller depending on how I would change the width and the height of my iframe. Now we could also link to the pages within our own document. So let's say you can see over here that info page that we created, and I'm just going to create a live preview over here to see that you can see over here that this is our info page. You can see the name over here, and I'm actually going to zoom in so you can see that this is our info page, and this is our index page, right, where we have the ESPN. But if we go back to our index over here, and let's say I'm going to change the source, I'm going to change it from the ESPN, I'm going to change it actually to info. And if I write over here, the bracket gives me right away code hints over here. So if I just save this and refresh over here, now you can see that I am in my index page, right? You can see I'm going to zoom in here. However, the iframe is actually pointing to the different web page within my own page. That is actually the info page. Now I could also use the iframe to actually connect it to the images that I have over here in my image folder. So let's say I would write the source over here. Instead of info, I'm going to write a images. That's the folder that my images are located. And now I have two options. Those are the two images that I have downloaded, right? So let's say that I want Kevin Hart over here. So I'm just going to save this over here, and I'm going to refresh. And you can see that now my iframe is displaying a image that's actually located in my images folder. Now another cool thing that we could do with iframes, we could actually use links to point to our iframe and actually display whatever the location of our links are. So let's say over here that I have iframe over here that is actually pointing to the picture, but I'm going to get rid of this source over here. So it's just going to be empty, and it's going to be, as you can see, the width is going to be 300 and the height is still going to be 300. And you can see in our live preview that the iframe is still here. However, there's no source, so that's why it's blank, right? And what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to create a name over here for this iframe, and I'm just going to name it frame over here, right? So I have an iframe, it's blank, but it has a name. And over here, I'm going to start creating links. And the first link I'm going to create is actually going to go again to ESPN. So I'm going to say HTTP, and it's going to be not with 3 P's, so I would have to fix it over here. And I'm going to write ESPN over here.com. And in here, I'm going to use another attribute, and it's going to be target attribute. And the target attribute, I'm going to write the same name that I given the iframe. So you can see that I given the attribute name, I gave the value of frame. So right now when I'm doing the target, when I'm writing the target, attribute, I would need to use the same value that I gave it the name. So I'm going to write frame over here, and I'm going to create a ESPN over here. So now you can see the link. And usually in any case before that, when we created the links, they were actually going externally. So let's go ahead and see what happens now that we have created a link that actually has the target attribute over here, and it's linking to our iframe, right? So now I'm just going to save this file over here, and I'm just going to click it refresh over here. And you can see as I press over here on a link, actually the ESPN is loading here in my iframe. So I didn't have to point it with the source. I could actually do it with the link. And the cool thing about it is that I could, let's say, create another link over here. I'm just going to create a line break before that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the whole thing over here. And now I have two links, and I'm going to create one more over here. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to copy that. So now you can see that, I deleted, but I'm going to copy it again. And now you can see that I have three links. All of them are pointing to ESPN, so we're going to fix that over here. So what I'm going to do is this location href, I'm going to change it to, let's say, info page that we did before. So now I have href over here, info, HTML, but you can see that I'm still using the target, and the target is still the frame, which is the name of my attribute over here. So over here, I'm going to create a different name. I'm going to say that this is going to be the info page. And the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually create a image over here. And our link is going to be to the image. And I'm going to say that the image is going to be funny. Or let's say Kevin Hart. And over here, I'm going to use the href to point to my image over here. So I'm going to say images over here, and then I'm going to find my picture with Kevin Hart. Okay, so I'm going to save this over here, and now you can see what happens when I refresh it over here. You can see that I have it blank, but as I'm pressing, now I have the ESPN, then I have the info page, and then I have Kevin Hart over here. And you can also notice here that my page is not reloading as I'm doing this. So when I'm pressing over here the ESPN, that it's not opening the new page. It's still working over here. And the same thing happens if I have info page or Kevin Hart over here. So what's happening is that you don't need to reload your page in order to use the iframe. It's actually doing while you're still on your page. So it saves the time for whoever is visiting your web page, that the page is not downloading twice, right? So the last thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to create a Google Maps in our iframe. So I'm just going to delete it over here, everything all together. So now you can see that I have a blank page. And I'm going to show you that, let's say that if you would be creating a page for, let's say some type of business, and you would want to use the Google Maps to actually point to that web page, right? To point to that location. So I would go over here, I would open up the web browser, and I have Google over here by default. So I'm just going to write maps, and you can see over here that the Google Maps, we were going to open the Google Maps. And what we would need to do is we would need to write the name of our business that we would want to point at or the address or anything of that sort. So in this case, I'm going to type the business, and you can see that this is going to be a very good steakhouse in Chicago, and this is going to be Tango Sir. So now you can see that the web page, or I'm sorry, that Google Maps is pointing to the business. What we can do is over here, you can see that share, we just click share, and we have share link, or we have embed map. And once we click on embed map, we can see that iframe is given already for us, right? So all we have to do is actually copy this one over here, and then we go back to our text editor, and all we have to do is actually paste this over here. And now you can see that our iframe is already made for us. But you can see that it has already default height and width, and what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to make it to 300, and this one is also going to be 300. So now you can see that if I just make this live preview bigger, you can see how we have a map, the Google map on our website using the iframe element. And what I can do is I can always zoom in or zoom out over here using the iframe and using the Google Maps. So you can see how it is a very, very neat feature. This is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.